I've never agreed to to one of these kinds of interviews.
I was living on the hill by the water tower and hiking trails.
So it starts really broadly, leaving my old band and my girlfriend and the city that I'd lived in and my brother and all my friends, like leaving all that to move to Los Angeles in this really kind of like self-destructive like act of myth-making or something. Like I needed to become a new person. So I was living in this place by the water tower and hiking trails and singing about it in past tense. And it wasn't until we moved that it was like, okay, now I know what that first line is about, you know, is the fact that I'm not living there anymore. It was really like on the drive to New Orleans that Emma and I hit, like, we hit some place in our relationship where there was some kind of like unspoken like anxiety started to like emerge, you know? So I started writing all these verses about sort of, and I wasn't sure at the time why I was writing them, but I started to write about what's the substance of my life? Like what did I just, and how does the place that I just left relate to that? And that started this process of like peeling things back.
You can hear it all over the airwaves. The manufactured.
And then it just moves through like these like Russian dolls of why do I make music? Why am I doing this? And then you get to the very end of the second like part, and there's that story about me choking on candy at JCPenney's, you know? Just like, what's the most irreducible factor in all this? And there's a lot in that little story. Kind of fear of the outside world, how like alien that music was to me. And my whole thing with my mom. It's not incidental that I like call her Barbara, you know, in the song. And realizing that like pure comedy, total entertainment, Ballad of the Dime, these songs, like this worldview that's in these songs, like it's not an objective worldview. It's not like scientific, it's not factual in any way. It's just like this is the worldview of like this kid, you know, like this little kid who's still me, you know, like I still wrestle with that kid, you know, part of me. And since the album is about humanity, it's about humans, I think it was really important to have a song in there that demands empathy. Like I said, you can either think that I'm like a dick, or you can accept that I'm as complicated of a human being as anyone else, and then get inside the world of that song and empathize with me. The song is about the unspoken. And ultimately, like after it was finished, after it was recorded, after it was all, and I'm examining this thing and I realized like all of this mess, this giant mess of ego and fear and vanity and want and all that, that would be the substance of my life if I didn't have Emma. And so in that way, that song was me coming to grips with what's actually valuable, with what has value in my life. And for me, it's Emma. It's a 3-year like realization of that, you know? Because you get a little fame, you get a little success, and you get really, and it's seductive. And you start to think that like you could live on just that, you know? And so you start to question whether or not you even really need this other person. I mean, these are ugly realities, you know? Yeah, so that's what the song's about.
The form of his major label day